Hi Matt, it's Danny Shine again. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
Good. It's been quite a while since we spoke last, and I sent you a couple of emails, firstly, about the idea of not doing things at our own expense, and I still haven't heard back to you from you about that.
Which ones are that?
I sent you an email with a long kind of document that someone else had sent me, which was explaining that, according to his understanding, he was saying that he doesn't have to do something at his own expense.
Oh, right, sorry, I'm with you, yes.
Yeah.
I replied to that the other day.
Oh, I didn't get that.
Last week. Yeah, basically just to say that I disagreed with all his points. I didn't think he did a case.
Right, okay. There's one other very important question. A lot of people are very, very concerned about Lockheed Martin, in particular, that they have been contracted to get information from Guantanamo Bay prisoners, which is basically torture, that they make cluster bombs that explode in midair and spread little bomblets all over that last for thousands of years, and children pick them up and get, blown up, that they have been done on dozens of counts of misconduct, selling arms to the wrong people, overcharging them. I mean, it goes on and on and on and on. And my question is, who is actually responsible? Who is the person responsible for making this, what seems to many people as disgraceful, immoral decision? Who made that decision?
In terms of who signed the contract, who agreed the contract that we would go with Lockheed? Is that what you're saying?
Well, what I'm saying is that you, not you personally, is that the Office of National Statistics, together with the Crown Prosecution Service, are threatening us with a criminal record and a fine, right, for what many people feel is standing up for our ethics and morals, yeah.
Okay. And
you're prepared to actually take on people personally, because you hold me personally responsible for my actions, yeah? Who is
not completing the questionnaire, yes.
Yes. Who is responsible for the choice to have Lockheed Martin be part of this? Because I still haven't heard from you, any kind of reasonable answer why this company is anywhere near our business.
Okay. In terms of an actual name for responsibility, I'd have to double check that because I don't know who signed the actual contract. I would assume it would be whoever was the senior person on the team at the time, but I can try and find that out for you.
That would be very useful. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it was signed by ONS, so I can try and find out who the signature was. In terms of why, as we've discussed it before, it was done under the procurement rules that we followed.
No, I know, I understand that, but you haven't explained to me. I've just detailed the kind of thing that this company does, right? And that it's part of its job is to get work for the CIA to get data mine and get information from people.
Well, if that's what you're saying, I'll accept it. I don't know that for a fact.
If that is the case,
aware of exactly what they do. There's a lot of allegations online that I've seen. Some are vastly ridiculous, some sound credible. So I'm not quite sure exactly what they do, and I'm not going to be drawn into that kind of conversation.
Well, somebody does data mining for the CIA, don't they?
I have no idea.
What do you mean you have no idea?
Well, I don't work for the CIA.
It doesn't mean any difference to work for the CIA. Everybody.
How they gather their information.
Well, they must gather some information somehow, right?
Possibly, yes. I mean,
There's no possibly about it. If they were not gathering information, then they should be shut down immediately. I mean, that's like, an intelligence. What is intelligence if not gathering information?
I assume they do, but I have no basis of fact for that because I don't work for the CIA.
Okay, come on, Matt.
Yes, I assume that
that's like saying Tesco.
What they do.
That's like saying I don't know whether Tesco sell produce because I don't work for them.
Well, no, I do know that because I've been to Tesco.
Right, but they're a supermarket, and that's what they do.
Yes,
and the CIA is an intelligence The CIA is an intelligence organisation. Yeah, they've got computers, haven't they?
I assume so.
Yeah. So somebody is supplying with the computers, supplying their software. Somebody is.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Somebody probably is, but I've no idea who that is.
Well, yeah, and
I think we're kind of straight. What's that got to do with the census?
well, because if there's an American company, right,
Yeah.
which has got a very bad track record, and it's one of the things it does is to try and get information for the CIA,
Yes,
right?
apparently.
And then the UK government gives all our private information over to this company. And I've already said to you, you didn't get back to me about the point, by the way, about the fact that when you go and do it online, it goes straight to Lockheed Martin UK.
Okay, I'm still chasing that up for you, but yes, I will get back to you on that.
Right, okay. So, it just doesn't smell right. I mean, I'm not the only one that's thinking like this, right?
No, you're not at all. We've had many, many, many letters and emails, etc. on this point, and the point we've come back to everybody is to say that we have set constraints in place in the contract and physically in the way the data is processed that no employee of Lockheed or Lockheed Martin have access to any of the personal census data.
Right, that's what you're saying. Except what you don't seem to understand is if Lockheed Martin have sold arms to dodgy countries or whatever they're doing, right? If they've done that, they're not exactly going to have difficulty in getting information. You as the ONS, what chance have you got of keeping information from an outrageously large company out there when you say that they're not getting the information? But I told you, when you go online and you submit it, it goes to the website of Lockheed Martin UK.
But is that, I don't know, because I haven't checked this out yet, is that a website that they set up, or is that a website that they are controlling? I don't know. I'm still waiting for an answer on that.
What difference does it make?
Well, if it's something that they set up and no longer have anything to do with, then it makes a whole lot of difference.
Even if it's something that they set up and don't have anything to do with, if they set it up, then they can have access to it.
Possibly. But as I say, I'm guessing now. I don't know how it was set up. I don't know what controls are in place, so I can't really give you any answers on that yet. As I say, I'm trying to find that out from our teams
who
deal with that kind of thing.
Okay. That's enough for the moment. I must say, as always, very, very grateful for your patience.
No problem.
And your willingness to help. How's it all going?
It's very good.
Are you pleased?
Very well. We're getting a very good response in so far.
Right. Are you pleased with the percentage of response? I mean, what percentage of people have not filled it in yet?
I couldn't tell you that, tell you the truth, because I've no idea. I haven't seen the figures. They change daily. But last week it was looking very good on the projections for where we were against this time last time, for instance.
Great. Just one last question. I've noticed a couple of things have gone up on YouTube. It's people filming the census, people coming around.
Okay.
I just want to, for people who are going to be listening to this conversation, can I just confirm that if a census person comes, a couple of things. If a census person comes to my property and starts asking me any questions, am I obliged to answer him?
No. In terms of census officers' staff don't have the same kind of powers as the police, for instance. They can't arrest you or anything.
Right.
However, if they do ask you questions which you refuse to answer, in terms of if they ask you questions to get the information for a questionnaire, which you refuse, that's actually an offence to refuse to give them the information if they need it.
No, I'm not talking about refusing. I'm talking about if they come up to you and say, "Hello, are you live at number 39, for example, or 53, right?" If I was to say to them, am I obliged to answer that question? And if I was asked you that, am I?
You're not obliged to, no.
No.
I mean, if it came to the point where we're talking about the staff in the field at the minute are just out to kind of help people fill in the questionnaires. They're not the people who would undertake any investigations for court. Well, that's a further process later on.
Right.
If people still refuse. If you refused and we got down to the point where the investigation teams went out, they would ask you questions and they would ask to do an interview under caution. So they would then caution you that the responses you give, they could go and give as evidence.
Yeah, but no, I'm saying, am I obliged to talk to them at all? To talk to them at all?
You're not obliged to.
No. Okay.
But in the same way that refusing to talk to a police officer when you're cautioned, if it goes to court, you've still got the matter of silence. You don't have silence is no defence anymore.
Right. Well, that's not quite. It's not quite as simple as that. Oh, it can be. It can be
very differently.
Yeah, it can be done by. It could be. Understood in many ways. One final thing, as I've noticed, some people have been putting up some interesting notices on their door, removing the implied right of access. Yeah. So in other words, if let's say I have a house and I've got like a garden in front of it, fenced off garden. If I put a removal of implied right of access, then surely the people from the census are trespassing if they've been warned if they were to enter that site.
I suppose possibly, yes. I mean, I'd have to look into each situation to give you a definite answer. But, I mean, possibly, but that still wouldn't stop a person's duty to complete the census questionnaire.
I didn't say it would stop a duty. I'm saying that it would, though, mean that the census people would be trespassing. And if this is caught on camera and they got evidence, especially when they've been warned about it, then they can be taken to court for trespass, can't they?
I suppose so. As I say, it would depend on each case.
Right.
Yes, I suppose so.
Yeah. It's all very interesting, isn't it? It's quite interesting because, Matt, what feels... I think a lot of people who've been following these conversations and in general have all, by the way, all been very respectful towards you because you're so respectful. But at the same time, it's as if like we're treated like stupid children. The legal system, when anyone goes to court, you can't even speak half the time if you're the so-called defendant.
Yeah.
And we're treated like stupid children and we're told you better fill this form in or you're going to get £1,000 fine. And it's like... it brings up so many issues, and people are now, they're onto it, as you know, because you're getting all these emails about so many aspects.
I certainly am, yeah.
And one wonders whether it might have been a little bit more respectful if the government would have said, we'd like you to fill in these census forms. This is the reason why. Yeah, please do it without any threat, without any legal stuff.
Possibly. I just wonder how many people would say, oh, okay, well, if it's voluntary, I won't bother.
Yeah, and I wonder how many other people would have said, if it's compulsory, I ain't doing it.
Well, it's a judgment call at the end of the day, really, isn't it, on which way you go.
Yeah.
Traditionally, it's always been, and most countries around the world follow the same example of it's a legal thing that you have to do it to get people to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're aware, but we ran a rehearsal in autumn last year, where we take a small sections of the community, a town here and there, and just see if our field processes work. And that's a voluntary form. It's the same questionnaire pretty much, and that's voluntary. And we get less than half the response, I would have thought, from a voluntary questionnaire than from a compulsory questionnaire. Yeah,
but they didn't realise that it's got the same... Did they realise it was exactly the same force as the census?
Well, it wasn't at the time, because as I say, if you don't, a letter goes out to say, look, this is a rehearsal, this is voluntary. We'd like you to fill it in if you can, but you don't have to. But we get a much lower response.
But that's different.
We say, right, you've got to do this.
Right. That is kind of slightly different because if the census is that important,
if there was no compulsion, then we may well get the same. And if we get a small percentage of people filling in the questionnaire and sending it back, then we're only getting a sample of the population rather than the whole, and therefore the statistics are inaccurate.
And then Lockheed Martin don't get all the information they need. Anyway, have a nice day, Matt. Speak to you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.